And we are live. Hi, everybody, and good morning. CL, thank you so much for joining us. So, today, for everybody who's watching, we have a special guest for our Indie Author Behind the Scenes series. Courtney Cannon, CL Cannon, is a USA Today bestselling author and publisher and a whole bunch of other things, which I'll let Courtney explain in a second. But we're so thrilled to have you today because you are the expert as far as list builders and ways to genuinely connect with readers beyond just, hey, I'm going to give you this free book. And I think that's one of the biggest underused parts of building and connecting with your platform as an author. So it's such an honor to have you. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really happy to be here. Um, I own Fiction Atlas Press, which is the company that I do these list builders through. I started it back in 2015. First started out just doing some cover design and some editing and things like that. And then eventually, as I got more into marketing and with my own author stuff, I was like, there's a need for this. So I decided to start doing list building. I am a mother of two kids that are crazy, and I write fantasy, YA, and sci-fi, and I'm terrible at introducing myself, if you can't tell. But
You're doing
I
great.
I really I really enjoy one of the things that I enjoy the most about my job is working with other authors, connecting with them, and helping them find ways to connect with their readership. And I'm also a huge book collector. I have over 2,000 print books and all kinds of ebooks and stuff. So I'm just somebody who really loves books and authors and likes to help out whenever I can.
Yeah, and I think that's very obvious to those of you who have followed Courtney. I've been following Courtney for about 6 to 8 months now, and I've already learned so much, not just about using builders, but also how to genuinely connect with them after the builders are out, which is one of the key factors for when you're doing these. So if you're one of the people who are watching and you're watching as a reader of mine, hi, good to have you. Um, that I guess you're getting a little behind the scenes peek. I think I want to just say for a disclaimer that none of us authors are really, in this community anyway, are really looking at readers as numbers. We are doing what we're doing because we want to connect with you. We love what we write, and we love people saying, hey, I resonate with what you write. And so these builders are just one more step toward that. And if you're an author, then hopefully you can walk away with some tips today. So we've got some questions we're going to walk through, and if you're joining and you want to ask any questions of your own, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will answer them live. We've got a couple that were submitted in advance on Instagram, so you're welcome to, send a message there if you don't want to post on the live stream where everybody can see your name. That's fine too. Um, all right. So Courtney, what is the difference between a list builder and reader magnet promotion?
Okay, there are some subtle differences. They both have the same end goal of building a relationship with your readership and expanding to new people that haven't may not have heard about you before. So it's about expanding your readership. But with a reader magnet promo, it's just you. You're the only person that is promoting that promo unless you're sticking it in another promo, which kind of is, different. But you're the only person that's promoting that, so there's less traffic usually going to it. Um, and it you can do a reader magnet promo for as long as you want, whereas list building usually is a set amount of time. And with list building, we usually do a group of authors. For Fiction Atlas, there's some people that do multi-genre, but for Fiction Atlas, we try to be very genre specific. So you're getting people that other authors that are in your genre that have similar interests to you and similar readerships to you. And we're taking and sharing each other's subscribers basically by saying, hey, this is a really fun giveaway that all these authors are sponsoring. Would you like to take a look at it? So it's more list building is a lot more group oriented, while a reader magnet is more something that you do on your own. You don't have much of a support system to be able to get more people to that. It's all you trying to find some way for someone to click on a link. And there's also no prizes except for the book, for the free book with a reader magnet. So with list building, we try to find out some really cute prizes that are also targeted to whatever the authors are trying to get you interested in. So like if we're doing a fantasy romance or YA fantasy, we're going to pick books from usually traditional publishers, but really popular books that people are interested in, and some fun things like candles or mugs, or we've done stickers, we've done Funko Pops. We do a lot of just cute things that people like to collect that are also in that kind of genre. So you're like, hey, maybe I want to check out what these other authors are doing and get a little taste of their writing samples and what they're all about. So it's a good way to meet new authors, both as an author and as a reader. If you're an author that's in a multi-list giveaway, you're collaborating with other authors and you can learn things from them, or you can teach other people things. So it's kind of just a nice networking thing. And if you're a reader, of course, you're going to get a sampling from a lot of different authors who write in a genre that you probably love. So hopefully that explains.
Yes, it does. And for those who are newer and you don't know the terms, a lead magnet is going to be usually a free book, whether that's a novella or a full length novel. And some people do sample chapters that you say, sign up for my email list and I'll give you this book in exchange. And not only does it give the reader something to try out and say, hey, okay, yes, I like their writing style, this author's for me, but it's a nice little perk. So you're using it as a magnet. Hi, Life with Two YouTubers. Good morning.
Morning.
And then the list builder, those are done different ways, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think, Courtney, how you manage your list builders, yours are limited to a certain number of authors per builder, so that the reader's not overwhelmed by, here's all these new authors and some get lost. What do you think the other benefits are to that, as opposed to doing like a big book sweeps giveaway? Not that there's anything wrong with book sweeps, but like, as opposed to doing that where there's 50 authors.
I find that we do a lot of different ways to kind of keep that number low. We try to never do over 25, and usually I don't, unless the form that where authors sign up just gets out of control and I'm like, oh Lord, there's 28 people and I have to shut it down. That's usually only when something's really popular. But we try to limit it to 20 to 25. And I also, when I send out, the list of readers to my authors, I say, here are some instructions on how to talk to these people and how to let them know, one, where they signed up, because they may have forgotten if it's been a month since they first entered the builder, if they entered at the beginning of it. And, introduce yourself. Here's an example of how I talk to them if you need it. So you can start building a relationship, which is what you want to do with new subscribers. And it just, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at trying to speak like this.
You're good.
My brain just went, woo. But there's a difference, because it's just a lot easier to be able to get that relationship going now, instead of saying, here's a bunch of stuff. And I send that out in 2 spurts, instead of saying, okay, 25 authors, here you go, everybody is going to send at one time. I say, okay, these first 10 authors are going to get the list, and then a week later the next authors are going to get their list, and this kind of evenly disperses it, so not everybody's getting bombarded at one time. And it makes it easier for readers to have time to check out those first 10 authors and their samples and their free books, and try to get to know them and say, okay, I like this promotion, I want to go back and find another one. So if they have a good experience like that, instead of being bombarded by 50 or 60 all at one time, and that's hard if you get 60 emails and you're not really sure why, or if you're like, oh, I didn't know there was going to be that many. So another thing that we do at Fiction Atlas is we list every single author on the giveaway page, which is something you really should be legally doing for GDPR anyway. but we list everyone. So before anyone signs up, they know that they're agreeing to sign up for so many authors, who they are, and they can actually go and search those authors and see if they want to sign up for all those lists. So that makes consent a lot easier also.
Yes. And I see life with two YouTubers. How did you create the list? So these are list builders, and I'm actually going to share my screen if I can figure it out here. Let's see. Here we go. So this is one that we did with Courtney earlier this year, which was for a Grishaverse fan giveaway. There's a limited number of us authors, which were listed out, as Courtney just said, on here. People could enter, and then a person is randomly selected to win all the prizes pictured here in exchange for trying out these other authors that write similar books. Um, so that's sort of the overall gist of that. And GDPR, that is compliance for the UK, right, Courtney?
Yes. In the UK, there is a law that states it's pretty much how you collect information. There are laws across all countries, but GDPR is something that came out a few years ago that made it a little more strict, especially for countries in the EU. And it's about how you obtain consent, and it's trying to make sure that nobody is selling information, nobody's sharing information they shouldn't, and that when a consumer is about to give away their personal information, which is their email or anything else that you might ask for on a newsletter form, that data is protected, and that the user can take it back if they want to. If they decide they don't want you to have their information, they can request to withdraw it. And it's just about making it safer for people, and so they don't end up on massive spam lists and things like that. But GDPR is something that you have to be mindful of when doing a list builder. You want to make sure that they're following all of the guidelines. You need to have a list of what the person is signing up for, and I like to have a drop down or a checklist so they are again giving their consent. And if they didn't do that, they wouldn't be able to enter, and it wouldn't be compliant with GDPR. So a lot of people, if they just have like their first name and email, if they don't have a double opt-in on their email, and that's against GDPR right now. So it was a big thing a
Yeah.
few years ago. A lot of people kind of freaked out about it, but we've managed to get through it, and I think it's overall it's a good thing because it protects consumers, readers, and it's not too hard to figure out now that we've had experts go in and we've had lawyers and things. So it's a lot less confusing than it was 3 years ago when everyone was going crazy about it.
Yes. And it's not just, there's GDPR in Europe, but then there's also CAN spam in the US, which
Uh-huh.
has similar rules and regulations. And the gist of it is really, if you're not comfortable with the laws, get some advice from somebody who's a pro. But there's a lot of helpful resources online where lawyers have typed up, in a nutshell, here's what you need to know, um, with just a couple Google searches. And some of the main email distributors, if you're not using a list and you're putting a sign up link on your website, will build in that capability. So it'll say you have to have dual consent. Like they have to
Hmm.
sign up, and then they have to go to the email and they have to click, yes, I actually want this email. And yes, it means it's more of a pain than just type in your email and I'll send you things, but it does protect you further down the line, and it cuts down how much report as spam that you get, which then hurts how many of your emails get delivered and all of that too. Um, let's see, was this something you did on social media? So the list builder I shared on my social media and in my newsletter. There's some people who start out that don't have newsletters when they do list builders, and that's why they're there, or they have a really small newsletter. And as an author who's been on both sides, who had very few people when I started them, I appreciated the fact that people shared about me in their newsletters. And now that I've got over 2,000 newsletter subscribers, it's the reverse. I don't care about helping, I like helping other people who have less than me. But if we all share as much as we can, it tells fans and readers, hey, there's other authors that write this genre that would love to meet you. And it just helps everybody around the board. But the actual builder is not for social media, it's for your newsletter list and what we're
Right.
talking about today. Um, Great questions. And so that sort of segues into what is a social media builder versus a list builder? Are they the same thing?
They are not the same thing. The the newsletter builders that we do have some add-ons where you can add a social media or a, two. I think we have it now to where you can do two. So if you wanted to add on like a Facebook or a TikTok or anything like that, you can do that with a newsletter builder, but it is with us, but it is something that you would have to pay a little bit of an additional fee for. We do run social media builders, and those are more concentrated on building your following on social media. You do not receive a list at the end of these. We can also in the social media builders go directly to your book funnel link or your landing page or something like that. So you can still get some newsletter subscribers that way. Um, but you will not get the vast amount that you get with a newsletter builder because that is the main focus. With social media builders, we are building you on up to 10 platforms. So that's TikTok, Twitter, Facebook page, groups, like your reader groups, BookBub, Amazon. So just about any social media that's out there, we could build it for you. And by doing that, we're doing the same concept as with a newsletter builder. We're creating a contest that is targeted to the genre that you are trying to reach. A lot of times we are doing specific books or authors anymore, so because that's getting even more targeted. So knowing your comparable authors is a really important way and a really effective way to get to the authors that you the readers that you are looking for. But again, we make the contest with usually about 4 books that are traditionally published and that are best selling. And then we have some goodies like Funkos and mugs, stickers, enamel pins have been big recently. I'm a big person that is into book boxes, so I kind of pay attention to those trends because those are things that are highly sought after by readers, and especially with a lot of the reader like book collecting, and book collectors, they want little trinkets that are about their books that they can display on their bookshelf. So that's why I put a lot of those things in our giveaways. But once we have that done, uh, the actual entry options that readers go and see and get points for so that they can be entered to win the giveaway is things like following a certain author on TikTok and then following them on YouTube or joining their Facebook group or signing up to their reader magnet. So just whatever options. And we try to make it easy for you to say, hey, I've only got $10 this month. I'm only going to sign up for 2. Or if another month you've got enough to do all 10, it's $40. So we try to make it affordable where it's only $5 per platform. So because I know authors, as an author, I know authors don't have big budgets, and we want to make something that is effective to get you new readers, but that it doesn't break your budget for other things you need, like covers and editing that are really important. So basically the difference is you don't get a list with our with the social media builders, but you do with the newsletter builders. So it's kind of a different process. Instead of having to wait for the newsletter builder to be over and receiving the list, and if you're in the second line, you're going to have to wait an extra week. With social media builders, you're getting them immediately as soon as the contest is live, and you'll get them throughout the whole time that the contest is live. So that gives you also time to be posting things on your social media that are interesting, and to have pinned posts and things that can grab attention and get them kind of hooked on you. So they can say, I want to check out this book, I want to check out this series, and become a fan.
Right. And I think, it's a good thing to note too. When we talk about a list builder, we're talking about email list. They're getting an entry or multiple entries depending on who the list builder is through, whether that's Courtney, whether that's through Book Queendom, whether that's through Book Sweeps. They always promise them, some prize in exchange for their email list. And with social media builders, they see more of what you do on the front end, and that will determine heavily whether or not they follow you. So while I don't think you necessarily have to have a giant platform on social media to get an effective social media builder, you want to show something about who you are so they have a reason to follow you, because they're going to click through, which is going to give them the entry, but then they're seeing, do I want to follow this person? Do I like what they post? If I'm a dragon lover and I see dragons all over the place, oh yay, this is a dragon author. And then they're much more likely to come back and engage, and that's ultimately what's important. Or paranormal romance, or whatever it is they're looking for in those builders. So you don't want to just start your social media and then have nothing on your page and then go straight into a social media builder.
And people try that. They do. I've got people that have nothing on their TikTok, or they have nothing on their YouTube or their Instagram, and I'm like, I just want to let you know that if you post a little bit of content, you'll see better results. Because you have to find a way to connect with your readers, and they have to know a little bit about you to want to follow you.
And then Book Life with Two YouTubers. So Fiction Atlas, which is Courtney's publishing company, does builders, and there are also some other reputable builders. Some key things to keep in mind when you're looking for a reputable builder is that they have taken the precautions to make sure that they're meeting the compliance. Like Courtney said, you should see the names of the authors that are included in this builder. You want to make sure that the prize is straightforward, that there's a set end date, that there's terms that they can click on, and builders should not be break the bank expensive. I got invited to one the other day, and they were like, this builder is $750, and I was like,
wow,
no. And then you also don't want to buy a list, which is illegal in a lot of places. You are entering, they're entering this, and your money is going toward the prize and toward the marketing expenses, toward, the administrative fees, but you're not purchasing a list from someone. So if they say, we already have 1,000 authors that you can have today, that's a big red flag, because it means those authors didn't opt in for your newsletter list specifically, so it's probably not compliant, and you could get hit with a bunch of issues for that. So yeah, but I definitely recommend Courtney's builders. I used a lot of her builders to get where I am, and the links should be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Let me see. There's a Facebook group, which is where I follow. Are your builders on your website too, Courtney?
We are working towards putting them on the website and having the sign-up forms on the website, so we can do like a cart system, so it'll be a little bit easier for people to know what they've signed up for. But that's something that's in development. Right now, the best place is to go to the group and sign up. We also have a newsletter that is in the pinned post of the group to sign up for that. So we send that out about probably twice a month, that says, hey, these are our new builders. This is how many we need for this builder to fill. But those are probably the best ways right now until we get the website up and going.
Yeah. So there's Fiction Atlas for you to try there. And I find that these are a little easier than trying to organize your own, which is coming up on the next question, which is, can't we just organize these builders ourselves? I mean, I have tried this one time, and then I'll let you speak to your opinion, Courtney. The one time I tried this, I was a newer author, and the regulations were overwhelming, and trying to get King Sumo or App Sumo, which is what I was using, to show everything right and get it all done, and then make sure that your compliance stuff is set up for winning, like who can win and where it's valid, and all that is so much work that when you're brand new, you might want to do a couple with somebody who knows what they're doing. So Courtney, what do you think? When they say, can't we just organize these by ourselves?
You can, but like you said, they are pretty labor intensive, and you have to know what you're doing with the law. You have to either buy or subscribe to something. Usually there are a few free things out there that work, but they are very frustrating because they are usually web-based, and a lot of things can go wrong with browsers and things like that. Personally use King Sumo, but I use the WordPress plugin. So that's something that I had to pay for. I paid for a lifetime subscription to that, and I had to install it in my website. I had to make sure how to get everything set up correctly for GDPR, how to get the confirmation emails going out and things. So I had to set up a separate email account that goes through. It was a lot of work, and it's still a lot of work when you actually have to go and make the graphics. Especially one thing that I think is really vital about graphics is you have to have some graphic design experience. And I mean, it's easier these days with BookBrush and with Canva and stuff, but there is an art to making your typography look good, and there's an art to cutting all those prizes out and making them look good on a page enough for someone to click on, because that is one of the main factors of getting signups, is making the giveaway look appealing and be something that somebody doesn't scroll by on their social media feed. So that's a skill that you have to be able to do. And it usually takes me between 3 to 5 hours just to create the giveaway, the graphics. I might overkill a little bit because I'm a perfectionist. I make that GIF that shows you everything up close, and I try to make nice backgrounds and things, but it all is something that does help. Being the perfectionist helps a little bit because it makes it appealing to people to click on. But there are a lot of skills that you have to acquire. And like I said, you can do it, but you might not see the same results. And having the experience to know where to share the giveaway, troubleshoot any problems if your authors or your readers have a problem, if something breaks, if their entry is not going through, you have to also be customer support for these people. So there's a lot of behind the scenes things that you don't really think of until you get into doing it. So it looks like, oh, we can just all pitch together and do this, but it is also just a lot harder than you might think it is, especially on helping other people enter the contest and make sure that they got their entries. Some people don't understand certain aspects of social media that you have to explain to them. There's a lot. It's a task,
Yeah.
and you have to learn all the skills and be able to get the results that other people who have spent time perfecting this program for years can get you with a pretty nominal fee most of the time. So sometimes it's
Yeah.
just less hassle to hire someone.
Right. And hey, Caitlin, so good to see you on Life with Two YouTubers. Being a perfectionist means you care. I think this is definitely a passion job.
Yes.
um, so, really, what we've had so many good questions, and I think the one piece that, if you have just a couple more minutes, we could touch on
Yeah.
before we hop off, is what to do after Builder. You got your list of emails, and what do I do next? Because this is where people are like, okay, I'm going to plug them all in my newsletter list, and then blank.
And then what? Yeah.
Right.
It is scary, especially if you've never done it before, to upload this list of these people that you don't know and be like, hey, buy my book, which is exactly what you don't want to do. You don't want to just send them the first email without introducing yourself or anything and be like, hey, here's a book I have. Do you see it? Do you see it? Will you buy it? Kind of waving it in their face. I like to send what I call an intro email. And in this email, I'm like, hey, how are you? This is me. You signed up here. So I always list where they signed up. The winner was this person, but you still get to be on this list, and I'm going to give you some free books and some different things. So I hope you'll stay with me, but I want you to know that there is a way for you to get off this list if you don't want to be on it. So you always want to offer them an out, because you want to weed people who don't want to be on your newsletter. You want to weed them out now before you have to start paying for them, because most people, after a certain amount of subscribers on almost every platform, you have to pay money for every person that is a subscriber on your list. So you want to pare that number down to people who are interested in what you're going to be talking about and who either click on your links or who reply to you. You want people that are interested. So giving them an out at the beginning is the perfect way to get those people off your list. They didn't want to be there in the first place. That's fine. Don't. A lot of people are like, well, I got this many unsubscribes. I guess they don't really like me. It's not that they don't like you. They just don't maybe care for what you're doing right now. And there are plenty of other people that do and are going to be really excited to meet you. So introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about you. I'm like, hey, I have 2 kids. I have a bunch of things going on. I'm a little bit crazy, but I hope you stick with me. Here's what I'm working on. These are the books that that are currently up. Here's something that's coming up that I'm excited about. So you're speaking to them like you would be speaking to a friend and not someone that you're trying to sell something to. You're going to be like, hey, guess what I'm doing right now? It's pretty cool. And show them some visuals, like, here's my cool new cover. Do you like it? What do you and ask questions is a big thing. What do you think about it? What are you excited about reading this year? If you tell me, I've got a thing at the bottom of mine that says, hey, I'd like to know a little bit about you. If you will tell me like I list a few questions, like what book you're reading this year, or what you're most excited about, what your favorite fantasy object is. I give them a few different things that they can answer. And I was like, or anything else you want to tell me, then you can reply to this email and I will send you a free book. And I find that works better for me than just setting the free book with the first email like some authors do, because this gives me people that I know are going to be very engaged. And so they might read that and leave me a review. And it also trains their email service provider to say, hey, they replied to this email, so I should put this email in the inbox. And that's something that you really want. You don't want your emails ending up in spam or promotions. So if someone's already replied to your email, it makes their service provider think, hey, this is an important email and I should be showing it to them. So that's another hurdle that you've already jumped by doing that. And then sometimes I'll follow up with another email if they haven't answered after that and be like, hey, did you know that I've got a free book? You can get it here. But I find this tends to weed out people that don't want to be there. And then I get to know a lot about my readers and what they want, and I can put that into further. I'm a data freak. I really love data. I do polls in my newsletter anyways for my regular subscribers. So I ask them questions about what they want, and I can put that into my future writing. And so that's almost like sculpting my books to be exactly what my readers want.
Yeah.
And what I want too. But, just putting those little things in there that I know that they like helps retain readership and helps them be happy with my work. And developing this relationship with them through newsletter means that they remember me, they remember my books, and they remember to support me by sharing things, joining my street team, which I also put at the bottom of my initial newsletter and all of my newsletters. Follow me on social media. So it's a big thing about just letting them know you, becoming friends with them, finding out what their interests are. It's better than just cold emailing them without introducing yourself and just saying buy my book. I don't usually post a buy anything. I give them opportunities that they can look at the stuff that I'm working on, and then maybe when they move over to my regular, I do emails biweekly, my biweekly email, then maybe they'll see, I have this book up for sale. If you'd like to get it, you can buy it here. But I really try not to do any buy this in my first email. I've rambled a lot. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. I completely agree, and that's all great and spot on. I actually learned a lot about mine from my first builders with you and seeing your
I'm
examples,
glad.
and I've found a lot of success doing the same thing. I usually put a screenshot of what the giveaway looked like in the top
Mm-hmm.
corner and said, "Hey, you're here because you signed up for this giveaway." And thank you for giving my email a try. And I would, even if you didn't win, here's a free book. Um, and then follow that up, what they call a flow for people who are newer. I have dropped a link to how I use Klaviyo to send my newsletters in the comments for anybody who doesn't know how, newsletters work yet. Maybe you're just looking into getting one. But basically, it goes into an automated flow. So they get the welcome email, and then they get, hey, here's some free character art, and then, hey, here's a quiz on which character you would be if you were in my book. And I try to repeat on the first few to remind them who I am, because there could be multiple authors, which is like, hey, my Grishaverse fans, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, oh, yeah, that's the lady I got from the Grishaverse giveaway. Um, and, but really, there's a couple other tips that I've found and that I share. And then if there's any last tips you have, Courtney, I'd love to hear those too. One is I keep a unsubscribe folder and a spam folder. So people who mark me as spam go on my blacklist folder, because I'm always extremely clear, you're receiving this email because you signed up for this builder. And if they hit mark as spam, it hurts the visibility of my other emails. So they go on a blacklist. So if they ever try to resub, I'm not going to add them back to my list. So when I finish a builder, I go through and just make sure nobody is on my blacklist. But there's literally only 10 people on my blacklist. It's very rare from a builder, because Courtney does a great job of vetting these people out before she sends them. And then two, I also keep an unsub list. And I do that because a lot of these people who love builders will do multiple builders. And if somebody unsubbed from my Grishaverse builder, and then I did a Brandon Sanderson builder, and they happened to apply for that same one, instead of sending them the same canned email of, hey, you did this, blah, blah, instead I send them in a different flow that says, welcome back. I'm so glad you're willing to give my list a second try. Here's what's going on since you left, type thing. And then I get sort of a little more targeted, and that has helped rope in some of those people that were just like, I was just here for the prize, I'm unsubscribing. And you're going to have unsubscribers as part of life. Don't take it personally, because it's not personal. Just let them go and then welcome them back if they choose to come back. The positivity will come through in your emails and in your engagement with the people. And then my last thing is, ultimately, the more builders you do in a close period of time with the same authors, the less new people I've seen that I get. So if it's always me and Dele Tahoe and like the same group of people, well, we all have the same newsletters that saw the last builders, and that's going to end up being less and less new people over time. So I personally am trying out giving it a 2 or 3 month break, coming back to some builders with authors that I haven't really worked with yet. Courtney, what's your experience been with that, leading these?
We do have some of the same authors that do every month, and I know that they don't see the same ones, because if everyone's in the same pool, it doesn't you'll always have some new people, but you don't want to keep joining the same ones over and over again, because you will get some diminishing results. So the break in between builders is something that I do recommend. And if you're doing a newsletter builder and it's not getting you as many people, you might want to switch to a social media builder, or you might want to go to BookBub, because we do offer those too, or do the book fair. So we offer a wide variety of different things just for this purpose, so that people can jump around if they need to based on their needs. But I'm trying to think of some other tips that I think that would be good. I do want to stress that making sure that your comparable authors, and making sure that you're in a giveaway, whether it's with one of ours or anywhere, that suits your readership. That like if you write clean fantasy, you don't want to be maybe in fantasy romance or something. You want to make sure it's something that your readers are going to be interested in. And I like to say, always go with a genre targeted builder. Multi-author builders, multi-genre builders do not do as well, because you don't have a clear focus. So somebody who's entering for a different genre may not be interested in you, and they're going to immediately unsubscribe, just because they, not for anything personal, It's just they don't like whatever genre you write. So that's just pretty much money that has been spent on someone who was never interested in the first place. So you want to make sure that they are genre targeted. You want to make sure that you have your content up, like what you said before, that they will like. You want to make sure that you're being personable with them in your newsletter. When you're shopping for newsletter builders or social media builders, you want to make sure that you're looking for someone who is reputable. Check out their reviews on Facebook or on, I trust reviews on websites a little bit less. I would do with some sort of social media platform that they have been reviewed on, or Trustpilot or somewhere, if they have reviews on there. So, or checking out with other authors that have used them before. What were your results from this? Because doing your research is really important, because there are scammers out there, and there are people who don't know that they're not doing things the right way, but they might be doing something that is illegal, because requiring purchase without some free option is something that is illegal in a giveaway that a lot of people don't know about. So they'll be like, well, if you purchase this book, I will give you that. I will like enter you into this contest, and you can't do that. You can do a free gift with purchase. So there's a lot of giveaway rules that are out there, which is another reason why it's hard to, do these things yourself without a professional. But just do your research, ask other authors, and have fun with it. It's not something that you should stress about. It is something that's an important part of your business, but don't overwork yourself about it, because especially if you've hired someone, they usually know what they're doing. They know how to help you. Don't be afraid to ask questions from the person that you're getting the builder from, or from other authors, and have fun with it. Don't stress too bad. There's always some way to fix something if you've done something wrong. We will work it out and figure out how to get these readers to you. And I don't even know what else to say. That was just, don't stress too bad. It's fun and these things are fun. Sometimes I'm like doing the giveaways and I'm like, this would be nice for my shelf. So I have a problem with getting a lot of the stuff that I'm giving away for myself. That's a problem I have. I don't know.
It's like, oh, I wish we could enter this because this looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only downside. Is I spend a lot of money on just getting my own things for it, and then for the also shipping it out to the other person at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So that's all been so great. Thank you so, so much, Courtney. This has been fantastic
You're
about a topic
welcome.
that I think a lot of authors don't know is available as a tool, or if they have, maybe you've been floundering. It's been super helpful for me doing builders with you, and I can personally vouch for Courtney and her builders. So if you'd like to check her out, I dropped the Fiction Atlas Facebook page in the comments earlier, and her other links are in the description box below. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a blast. I loved it.
Oh, well, we are so thankful to have had you. Next week, for those of you who are interested in more book promos, book tours, book box information, we have the Nerdy Book Box is going to join us live with Lillian Sue, who's a PR expert in the indie community, and Sophie, also known as Beware of the Reader, who is a rep for Illumina Crate and Fairy Loot, I think, too, and some other boxes. And they're going to talk about how to do book boxes as an indie author, how to do book tours, and answer your questions live. So subscribe and hit the bell on the video for a reminder. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend.